Growing up, I knew my brother and I were pretty different. My brother believed he was a leprechaun for 2 years straight, and I did not believe he was a leprechaun for 2 years straight. You are here because you want to learn how to tell a killer 1-minute story. Hi, I'm Hannah. I help people like you communicate with clarity, confidence, and charisma. And I love storytelling and think it's one of the best ways to communicate with people. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe, hit like, save it, and share it with your friends and family. I promise you will use and need this information later. Here are 4 easy ways to tell a killer story. Step 1, engage your audience. All of you are dying to hear more about my leprechaun brother because it's kind of cute, kind of adorable, kind of weird. Also, what does it mean to be a leprechaun? And what is it like having a leprechaun brother? All valid points that I could talk about. Here is why you engage your audience first thing when you start telling a story. Attention spans. Gen Zs, by multiple reports, have about a 7 to 9 second long attention span. If you look at millennials, they have about an attention span. Oh, it's been 10 seconds since I mentioned attention spans the first time. It's not very long. It's a short window of time. You have to immediately get the audience's attention. Millennials, they have about an attention span of 12 to 15 seconds. It's why TikTok exists. TikTok is most powerful in those 15-second or 30-second increments. Why? Attention spans. My leprechaun brother and I also played sports very differently. I was aggressive and competitive, insert Hamilton quote here, and I liked to slide tackle people when possible. My leprechaun brother would play soccer by laying down on his belly and hunting for 4-leaf clovers for good luck during games. It was during one of these ill-fated soccer games that my brother's leprechaun abilities became illuminated. Step 2, quickly set the stage for your audience. What I mean by this is introduce the key players. Who's important in the story? Where is it happening? Why is it happening there? Give us the context behind the story and where it's taking place. Here is why you want to do a quick setup and set the stage for your story. Your audience needs context. In the words of blogger Christoph Trapp, some stories shared nowadays are just fact dumps with big marketing words that are pretty meaningless, and they're just words that are used to fill space. He says you need to cut those words and cut those phrases like you are running out of words, like you have a hard and fast word count that you have got to stick to. Imagine if I had told you these facts instead of what I told you previously. My brother was 5. My brother liked magical creatures and magical people. I did not like magical people. First of all, snooze fest. I've just shared with you a bunch of pretty boring facts. I've also done just that. I have just listed facts. They're not part of a story. There's no narrative happening there. There's also 0 context. And because there is 0 context, the next factoid I'm going to share with you will make 0 sense. My brother was playing defense in a soccer game. That does not connect at all to the fact that my brother liked magical creatures or magical people, the fact that I did not like magical people. There's no context. What's happened there is a bunch of non sequiturs, which, don't get me wrong, I love a good non sequitur, but this is not the place for a non sequitur. You want your audience to understand the context. It would be like telling someone about a speech that you heard and not mentioning the fact that it was a wedding toast that the maid of honor was giving for the bride. That's pretty crucial context that you need to understand the story. So my brother's in 1st grade. He's like 5 or 6 years old. And it's the very end of the game. His team is up by quite a few goals. So the coach subs my brother in to give him a little bit of playtime. Unlike his teammates, my brother's modus operandi when he gets into the game is to lay down on his belly and hunt for 4-leaf clovers through the blades of grass. All of the sudden, though, my brother is the most important person because he is the last line of defense between the opponent that's had a breakaway and is dribbling at him and the goal. The goalie's gone. We don't know where the goalie is. So all of us start yelling at my brother from the sidelines. We're like, get up, get the ball. And my brother looks up, stares at the opponent, flares his nostrils, takes 2 running steps forward, throws his arms in the air, and flings his little body sideways into a cartwheel. Step 3, Hit the gas, hop in the fast lane, and get to the point. Get to the action. Get to the climax of your story. You are all on the edges of your seats. You want to know what happens? What is happening? Why is he cartwheeling? What is going on? Here is why you want to hit the gas, hop in the fast lane, and get to the point ASAP. Your audience's brain is being pulled in thousands of directions every single day, and it's listening to every direction it's being pulled in. Listening is actually a really tough skill for the brain. It requires a lot of brain power. If you don't get to the point quickly enough, your audience's active listening skills are going to decrease, their attention span will go away, and they're going to move on to something else because listening is such a hard thing to do. It's why we tune out in meetings, or sometimes we tune out when we're listening to people because they are not getting to the point fast enough, and our brains don't want to spend the time to do that active listening. When your audience is listening to your story, they're also doing three things. They are organizing the information you're sharing, trying to comprehend it, and they're trying to remember it. If there's too much preamble, if there's too much before information, if there are too many players in the game, if there are too many details, if all of a sudden you're like, remember Aunt Ezra, one of those 17 people I mentioned that was at Thanksgiving dinner who was sitting across the table next to Uncle Bob, and you're like, I have no idea who any of these people are because you didn't make them stand out or significant in any way. Who is Ezra? That's because the brain was given too much information and it wasn't able to organize, comprehend, or remember it all because you spent too much time on the before the action to get to the action. Think about it this way. Let's say you only have 60 seconds to tell your story and you are 58 seconds in when you get to the action. That means you have 2 seconds remaining to give us the after effects, the aftershock, the aftermath, the results, what happened. Audiences want to know what happened. They want to know what the result was. And you only have 2 seconds to do that, which is not enough time. It would be like watching The Wizard of Oz and you get to the point where Dorothy kills the Wicked Witch. Spoiler alert, sorry everyone. She kills the witch and cut. Film turns off. And you're like, but does she get to go home? Do they get their wishes granted? You don't get to find out because you spent too much time talking in the beginning, getting to the action, that there's not enough time left anymore. And I know there are so many of you out there that are like, but all the details are important and I have to share all of this. When you only have 1 minute to tell a story, I guarantee you, everything before the action is not as important as the action. You figure out very quickly what is most important when you only have a minute. Your audience doesn't have the capacity to do that active listening for that long. Be sure to hit the gas, hop in the fast lane, and get straight to the action. So my brother flings himself sideways, cartwheels, and at the same time it feels like time slows down because as his little hands hit the grass and he's upside down, the opponent kicks the soccer ball, it sails underneath my brother's upside down body, through my brother's arms, and swish, lands in the net of the goal. And then time speeds back up and the entire crowd watching, both teams, everyone on the sideline, we just erupt in cheers because we're like, what just happened? I never believed that my brother was a leprechaun. There was just no way. But as I watched that happen, I thought, you know what? Maybe my brother does have some magic. Step 4, create novelty. How many of you have a leprechaun brother who played soccer but didn't play soccer, looked for 4-leaf clovers, and then when faced with an opponent decided to distract them, cartwheel? As they cartwheeled, the soccer ball went between their arms, sailed into the goal, and everyone erupted in cheers. None of you have had that experience. It's unique to me in my life. That is novelty. And I know there are so many of you out there that are like, I don't have experiences like that, or I don't have novelty that happens in my life. Yes, you do. Even just going to the gas station is novel and different because no one else in this entire world has the same experience going to the gas station that you do. Let me tell you why. No one drives the exact same car. No one's wearing your same outfit. No one is eating the same food that you're eating in the car. No one's listening to the same podcast, radio station, or music that you're listening to. No one pays with the same debit or credit card. No one gets the exact same amount of gas, and no one talks to the same gas station attendant. No one else in the universe had all of those things happen to them when they went to the gas station. You and your life are novel. It's all a matter of how you tell it and how you make it novel to your audience. Here is why you want to create novelty when you're telling a story. Novelty, or when we learn something new or exciting, sends a little bit of a buzz through our brain, and we get a hit of a drug. We get a little bit of dopamine in our brains. Yep, when you learn new and exciting information, your brain releases dopamine. When you tell a killer story that engages your audience, quickly sets the stage, hits the gas, hops in the fast lane, and gets to the action right away, and creates novelty with your audience's brain is lighting up. Your audience's brains are getting a little high from your story because they are learning something new and exciting about you or about your topic, and that is releasing dopamine. According to the book Talk Like Ted by Carmine Gallo, our brains love novelty. An unfamiliar, an unexpected, an unforeseen, or an unplanned event that you tell someone about in a presentation or in a story intrigues the audience, and it jolts us out of our preconceived notions. It quickly gives us a new way of looking at the world. It's new, it's different, it's exciting, it's engaging. If you want to tell a killer story in 1 minute or less, you need to immediately engage the audience, quickly set the scene, hit the gas, hop in the fast lane, and head straight to the action and create novelty. To learn more about storytelling, public speaking, and communicating with clarity, be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit like, save it, and share it with your friends and family. That's all I've got for you today, and I will catch you next time.